Good morning, sunshines. Happy Canada Day, July 1st, 2023. What a time to be alive. I was just thinking, I'm always thinking, but it's been a hot minute. I guess it's been like 2 months. I made a podcast before the art show, and then I got so busy and it wasn't a priority, so I never shared it, but I don't really like to listen to them once I've just recorded it, so we'll see if I feel like listening to it and think it's still relevant and should share it, but if not, here you go. I feel like I'm always inclined to speak out, usually in regards to Allexanne, my cousin who passed away 4 years ago, basically today, not really July 4th, but I was just thinking about her a lot. Well, I always am, but I mean, especially in the past few days, because it was the last time I saw her in LA at the hospital, and some Snapchat memories popped up of Tasha and I walking in the street with a glass of wine and our hospital little, name tags on, laughing and crying, and just so many mixed emotions. And then we went for dinner. We went to a pumping little outdoor dinner club thing, and we were just pretending and trying to have fun, but dying inside, and then screaming at the ocean. I've never begged for a life before, but we were actually at the ocean in Venice, just being please let her wake up. Anyways, so that's a very emotional time, and I'm reminded of it basically every year this week, especially. Always am, but it's so vivid. And somebody asked me the other day, how am I not worried about the future? Because fair concern, there was, some stuff. And I thought, well, I guess I'm just death at a young age, me experiencing it at a young age, but also Allexanne only being 28, reminds me that the future is not guaranteed. And the present is truly the only thing that exists. I know it's you hear that all the time, but I don't think you understand it fully until you actually lose someone, especially if they die young, because you're holy shit. They really don't have that future does not exist. That's what it was in the cards for that person and for me to see that. And I was on the plane the other day, sad, thinking about her and just thinking about the whole thing. And I asked myself, okay, how can I be grateful and joyful for this experience? Because everything truly is just your perception. I know you've heard it, but you gotta actually get it and activate that when you're feeling shitty. Be okay, how can I be grateful for this? And not even just grateful, because I've been grateful for it, and I make a list of what I've learned. I was journaling about it, and I was okay, what did I learn in the past 4 years? I'll try to find it for you and say it, but and then this, the other day of this year, I kind of took the next step and asked myself, how can I be joyful for this experience? That I didn't necessarily get an answer to, to be frank, but I have hope that I can eventually change my perception from being so kind of hurt inside from this and missing her to, okay, finding the actual joy. I mean, I definitely did learn a lot, and I think that's something that people don't necessarily understand about me, because I'm just all over the place and frolicking around the world, and it's well, when someone dies, you just know that it's not really there's maybe not an option to wait till you're older. And I pray that I have a long, healthy, happy life, and I'm pretty certain I do. I just feel it. But don't be foolish and expect that. Like, don't hold back today thinking about the future. And also, we were traveling and seeing all these old people like falling asleep on the boat. So Tasha said, this is why you don't wait to travel. And I thought it's so accurate. You do it while you're young. Oh yeah, okay. I've learned so much in the past 4 years. 1, nothing really matters. 2, time is a blessing, not a guaranteed. 3, remember that you could die. Clearly, I was very thinking about death in this moment. 4, be grateful. 5, be love, give love, receive love. 6, embrace all the feels. Basically about this one, someone was also saying, I wish I kind of opened up more. And it's like, yep. Life's quite literally a lifeline. Like you have your heartbeat and you see it on the hospital on the little machine. And if it's flat, you're dead. But a lot of people live a flat line because they're scared of the lows. The highs are fun and they're great, but it's inevitable to have the lows. Like they're intertwined. They're one and the same. It's that they come as a pair. It's a high and a low. The wave. So I guess I already know that that's inevitable. So I try to make my highs really fucking high, and then whatever, the lows are really low, but at least I'm like experiencing the best that I could possibly experience, as opposed to just sort of like an average whatever, not really putting myself out there, not really like doing anything, playing safe, but not living to my absolute possible best, fullest, all of the above. Anyway, so don't forget that, because you're gonna get hurt and sad or whatever anyways, so you may as well go full out and just have the extremes. I'm quite extreme, we know that. 7, do what scares you. 8, don't wait. 9, be different. 10, have fun. 11, make a difference. And then I basically talked to myself and said I love you, and then I'm here for you. And it felt like I was, it wasn't like me, it was like my higher self speaking to this sad cousin. And it's so interesting when you journal and when you take a step back and you just think about life. You're like, everyone says your inner child. So I'm like, okay, how's she doing? Like, are there multiple of me? What's going on? Also, the different dimensions. I don't know how many versions of me are there right now. But you do feel that sometimes when I'm journaling, I write like in third person and I talk to myself, and it doesn't feel weird at all. It literally just feels like I'm speaking and I'm listening. But I'm just flowing what's meant to be said. Oh yeah. So that was that. Anyways, the rest of my travels were absolutely extraordinary. It was so much fun. And someone asked me, how do you do it? And I thought, well, what do you mean? The thing is, you just do it. Financially, well, I'm probably not the best role model for that. Honestly, I sort of just make what I need to, and then I go and use it. Now, I obviously have like investments. Not obviously, but I do have that, and I don't touch that. I just pretend that doesn't exist. Until it's huge and I want to buy a house or something. But so I guess I have done that sort of like, especially throughout COVID, when you couldn't go anywhere. I definitely did plan for the future and mapped out some goals that would support me. But then I also live a little bit in fear of death. So then I often think, fuck it, I'm going traveling. But it's definitely work too, traveling it's definitely not luxurious. I mean, it could be, but I'm kind of going for a longer term, so it doesn't make sense to be more luxurious. It's more like all the experiences. I just like to be in so many different places. And you also be smart about it. Just don't be silly. And then I also do things like paint, so sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll sell artwork while I'm away. So like I'm literally still making an income from the work that I didn't get paid for in the past, and now I'm just getting paid for it. So that I remember in Berlin, I was deciding where to stay, and I was like, oh, do I spend the money in this like nicer hotel, or I'm getting to the end, I'm kind of tired, kind of just want some space and like clean rooms, whatever. And then my mom sent me a text, was like, you sold the painting, and it was the exact price that I was looking at the hotel for those couple days, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll do the hotel. And then this time, I got a check from Collingwood for my books, and it was like, cool, I volunteered my time when I was in Vancouver, and I was, I'm just doing it because that's what I love to do. And then kind of out of surprise, you get a little check. So I work in a way that when I'm home, I give and I work and I just do what I can physically while I'm here. And then when I go, I sort of trust the universe and everything will work out. And it does. And somebody said that too at the wedding. They're like, you're just lucky, huh? Like everything works out for you. And I was like, yeah, it does. Because it's also, I believe that it's your belief. If you believe that that's your truth, then it will be. Like you just still don't get that. Like, you literally create your reality. It's absolutely insane how accurate it is. Everything I think becomes a reality. It's amazing. Every time I get in my car, I'm like, wow, I did this. Cool. Like, I remember visualizing the T on my old car before, and visualizing looking into the reflection as I'm driving and seeing myself in like a little white Tesla. And now I look into the reflection while I'm driving and I'm in a little white Tesla, and I'm like, that's so cool. But then it also changes. Now I want to move to Europe, and it's like, okay, well, I should probably sell my car because I don't really need it here. I don't want to be paying for it while I'm not using it. That just doesn't make sense. So as you're growing and evolving, you do have to remember that you're going to need to let go of certain things. Like, pretty much already let go of a lot of things last September when I was planning to travel for the majority of this year. And then now I'm got to let go of like all the rest of the things, pretty much besides some clothes that I could use when I come home, but I definitely don't need all of these. And bags and shoes and cameras. I have a drone. I haven't used that in years. I love getting rid of things. It feels so good and freeing. I love just like growing. But growth also comes with pain. Letting go of my apartment, that was so sad and so bittersweet. I loved it so much. I didn't want to move on, but I live by a quote, you cannot become what you cannot become what you want by remaining what you are, and to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. That just like lives in my brain. So it's not easy to let go of things, and nor is it easy to move across the world. But if you have like a calling of some sort, you need to do it. And if it scares you a little bit, great. I love that. I remember talking to somebody once too, and they're losing some friends, and it was sad. And it was like, yeah, but honestly, kind of love that. It's sad and it's bittersweet, especially when you grow from friends, but it's a sign of growth, or like leave friends, but it's a sign of growth. And I love those signs of growth. I love my friends, but I love like letting go of things because it's challenging, but it feels amazing. And what I also realized is it's forever evolving. You feel like you've grown and you're there and you're thriving, but then a couple years go by and then you've got to grow again, and it's just more growing pains. But that's literally the cycle of life. Sometimes I laugh about all the things I say because it sounds so like cliche, but I see people and they still don't get it. Like, they don't get that what they think, it creates their reality. Like, if you don't get this, ask me for help and I'll help you. Yes, I made a book and it's printed and it's published and it's good to go now. I'm going to have a little launch for it before I go, so stay tuned. But if you want one now, let me know. But I was also talking to somebody the other month about, okay, so somebody hit their car. Okay, so wait, pretend I didn't say that yet. I was saying I have to take full responsibility for your life. Like, no matter what, everything, like, for me, everything is my fault. If I'm somewhere I don't want to, I'm uncomfortable, I'm like, it's my fault. I somehow got myself in this situation. It's not like blaming another person or something else for me being here. It's like, well, I'm here. I chose to be here. I'm somehow here. That's my fault. So somebody says somebody hit their car. And I thought, well, that sucks, but that's your, like, you manifested that somehow. I don't know how, but somehow you attracted that. And he's like, so you're saying it's my fault someone hit me? And I was like, well, kind of, yeah. Like, that's the whole thing about taking responsibility for your life. When you realize that your life is your life, you take full responsibility. It's in your control. You can attract every single thing you want, need, be, whatever, present environment, whatever it is. But then you also have to take responsibility for the other side of things that don't seem like it's your responsibility, like getting hit. That totally sucks, but for some reason you got hit, and tune into that. Like, what were you thinking? What did you attract? I don't know. But when you simply just take responsibility for all of it, then you realize, oh, my thoughts are so powerful. Maybe it was a tiny little thought, or maybe you'd been manifesting it for a while. I don't know. Somebody said, oh, my bag's going to get lost. And I said, why would you say that? And they said, well, just, it's going to, I know it's going to happen. I'm like, well, okay, then it's going to happen because you just said that, like that. Don't you get it? It's going to happen because you said it's going to happen. I simply try to avoid, and then somebody else said, oh, you live in an alternate, distorted reality. And I'm like, okay, maybe to you, but to me, it's like really my reality. Like, it's really, I've somehow been traveling for the past 8 months. Like, no idea how, but that's what I wanted to do. And everything's just been kind of, supporting me, like one step here and one step there. And it's all just like lifting me up, being like, you thought about going to Amsterdam. Now we're going to show you Amsterdam. And you can see if you want to live there. And I was like, okay, maybe not anymore. Where else could I live? Oh, Zurich. Okay, somehow let's go to Zurich for the day. You know what I mean? Like, everything just... But I also believe that that's how my life is. It truly all is in your beliefs. So if you don't believe that, that's fine. But it's like gravity. It's still true. If you don't believe it, gravity is there. Doesn't really matter. It still has an impact. Same with the moon on the waves. Like, whether or not you believe that stuff, it still is impacting it. So your beliefs are literally controlling your life. That's why you have to be so clear about what you think and only think positive things. That's why I try to think, okay, how can I be joyful this grieving experience? Okay, maybe it's, maybe you're in denial a little bit, but not really, because I think I've gone through the pain of it and I've definitely experienced it. And when it does come, I feel it. But then I also saw something the other day where it was like, feelings aren't real. Feelings are your perception towards an experience where there's perhaps unhealed trauma or something like that. And I thought that's so true, because sometimes I wonder about my own thoughts. I'm like, well, is this accurate, or is this just me being dramatic? Or same for somebody else, that they're just totally delusional about an experience, and you're like, okay, but then makes sense. Maybe they've had some trauma, whatever it might be. So you can detach from your feelings, and I almost dissect my brain sometimes when I'm going through this, and I'll sort of put it in front of me. I'll visualize these emotions and my actual brain, and I'll almost be a little scientist and pull them apart like quite literally detach myself from this feeling because it's simply not necessary. Like I'll feel it, I'll embrace it, and then it's like, okay, no need to live in this state. I'm listening to whatever it's telling me. Thank you so much. I no longer need to experience that lesson anymore. I also think you're constantly like grieving a past version of yourself. Not necessarily constantly, but every once in a while, like you're growing, and then you also need to grieve that old version and fully step into your new self. And you can be whatever you want. Like the other day I was thinking, maybe I'll take some dance lessons and singing lessons. My whole life I've been like, I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer, like that's just not me. And then I thought, well, why not? Why can't I just be everything? I might not be extraordinary at it, but like I don't really care. I just like trying a whole bunch of things. So that was a fun thought. So be open to being a different person. I listened to a really good book. It was Dr. Joe Dispenza. Oh no, don't start that. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Basically, it teaches you how to unlearn what you've taught yourself to be yourself and be open to evolving basically to either a new person, your higher, a better version of yourself, whatever it might be. Like, just be open to being different than what you were, because people who say that's not me, it's like, well, you're kind of just, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm definitely am certain things and not others, but instead of kind of stunting myself and being like, I'm not that, let's just be open to it. Maybe it doesn't happen because it's really not what I'm made of or whatever, but at least be open. Also, I made fresh Brazil nut milk this morning for my coffee because I forgot to get oat milk, and then apparently oat milk's not the best for you actually. So I thought, I've been really into just wanting to like be a little granola, you know? This little West Van girl wants to be granola. I am pretty down to earth and like, you know, in the nature, but still grew up in West Van. It's kind of hard to not be that, whatever that is. If you know, you know. Anyway, so I made my own milk and it's really nice, and I'm going to try to keep making my milk continuously instead of buying chemical stuff. And I am just taking this extra step to cleanse my environment, my body, and be sort of natural. You know, took my nail polish off. No more eyelashes. We'll see. We'll see how long all that stuff lasts. It is nice, looking nice, but it's also nice just being you. So, cheers to that. I hope you have the absolute best. Well, it's a controversial day, but I mean, not really. I take that back. It's definitely a tough day for some and for others. Well, whatever. Okay. Okay, love you. Have the best day ever. Bye.